Dr. Richard Schlessinger.
So first I have to compete with a helicopter, and now I have to compete with ice cream. All right, well, we'll give this a whirl. I'm really and a screaming child. It's really nice to be here on a beautiful day. It's particularly nice to be here because about 4 years ago there was a real question about whether I would be here at all on this day, or for that matter, even that afternoon, because a lot of you guys might know this already. I had a minor attack of cardiac arrest right up here on Cogswell Road. Anybody who knows anything about hearts knows that if you have cardiac arrest, you have less than a 10% chance of surviving. Yeah. But the women and the men of this department saved my life. And they saved my, that's right. Give them a hand for that. I'm personally grateful. And they saved my life because they had the right equipment and the dedication and the skill. But I'm here today to talk about the right equipment because, you know, it's entirely possible that just as my life was in their hands, your home, your life, your garage, your possessions could be in their hands in the event of a fire. So Dave Williamson is going to tell you a little bit about why we need these particular things, trucks, but let me just steal a little bit of his thunder, if he doesn't mind. The fact of the matter is the technology has changed. You know, these trucks are a lot more capable now than they were. Cornwall has grown. There are houses that have been built in places that are hard to get to. And firefighters' capabilities have changed. They've improved. So they have the right stuff, but they need the right equipment. And that's why we're here today. We all have a stake in this fund drive, and it only makes sense. And I believe that, you know, these people who answer the call 24/7, 365 deserve the best equipment that's available. And that's what we're trying to provide for them. You know, I tell this story a lot. A few months after my cardiac arrest, I met one of the paramedics who worked on me, and he said to me, it's a weird conversation, he said to me, "Don't take this the wrong way, but there's really no reason for you to be alive." And I knew what he meant, but he was wrong. There was every reason for me to be alive. The reason I'm alive is because of these folks who you see in the green vests around you, our fire department. But all the dedication and the skill in the world doesn't really matter if they can't get to you quickly and with the right equipment. And that's why we're here, to help this department help us when we need it most. So give a listen to my neighbor. Am I introducing Dave? Oh, Dick's going to interview. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. A couple more minutes. I want to give the microphone to Dave Williamson, another of our neighbors. Dave is the second longest serving CVFD member, having joined this company in 1971. And it's, yeah. He's just 1 month shy of 54 years of continuous service. Thank you, Dave. Now, Dave has been past chief, an EMT, a safety officer, and he's led the company in addressing safety and emergency responses, including great leadership during the 1989 tornado cleanup and many trail and river rescues. So I give thanks, as we all do, and would like to meet Dave Williamson.
Thank you, Dick. And I'd like to thank everybody who came today to help us with this program. It's nice to have LCD here showing us some of the things they do. And I'd like to especially thank Sharon for bringing their truck down. We're looking at something similar to that. And we also want to thank Falls Village for bringing their bigger truck. If you haven't seen them, please go and look, and this is what we're looking at. Part of the reason we're looking at these kind of trucks is we need to get out of here quick. That's why it's nice to have a mini pumper. It's much quicker to get through some of the driveways and roads we live on out here. And we need to take all of our equipment, so everything has to be portable, which means we have to put it on the trucks and get it there somehow. So that's why we're looking at these trucks today. And what I want to tell you about is when I joined in 1971, we had some old trucks back then. They were standards. You had to shift them, so if you didn't know how to shift, you had to figure that out. Luckily, my day and age, we learned in high school, we went to classes to learn how to drive, to get our driver's license, and they taught us how to use standards. So I had to drive some of those trucks back then, and now everything's automatic, and you just pull out of the firehouse and you go to the fire and everything is simple. Didn't used to be that way. When I went to Firefighter 1 and Firefighter 2 in my first year in 1971, those classes were 40 hours. Okay, so total I had 80 hours worth of firefighter training at that point. Today, a Firefighter 1 course can be anywhere from 180 to 220 hours, depending on what they're doing, what they're training. Now, it's more expansive than I learned because we basically fought fires. Now they do extrication, which you see the tools of which we're trying to display on the back. If you get a chance on one of the back tables, take a look at the stuff we have to extricate with. We do water rescue, 3 different types of water rescue. We have swift water because we have the river. We have ice rescue. If somebody falls through the lake, we have to be able to get them out. We also have a boat which we go on the river with. That takes training. That's sitting over there. We just got that a couple years ago, and we've been training hard to get good at taking that in flood stages. Now in flood stage, I've been in that boat with Steve Hedden, who's a great operator of boats, and scared to death in flood stage. We went with that boat up under the covered bridge where I could almost touch the bottom of the bridge. That's how much water was going through. And he maneuvered it excellently, and then we had to also learn to go up under the bridge. That was a whole nother story, and I'm glad that we all got back safely. So we're ready for that kind of rescue, and that's what we do. And these trucks have got to carry that equipment. We tow that boat with our utility truck. The utility truck also is set up to do fires in the woods for any brush fires, small grass fires, or dumpster fire that somebody started. We can use that truck. It also carries other things for us. We have all kinds of things to go in the woods with, as you would imagine, when we're out here fighting forest fires. The thing that I am most fond of now that I've been here so long, they're trying to kind of slide me away. You know, I can't quite lift and run like I used to, but I really love doing the rope rescue. That is my favorite thing. We go up on the Appalachian Trail probably 6 to 8 times a year with our team, which is a Northwest Rope Regional Rescue Team. Was set up by Donnie Reed back in late 80s or early 90s, as I recall. Now we have different towns that are helping us, mutual aid towns. And how that works is you go and you work, you take your Rope Rescue 1 class, just like you would a firefighter class. You take your Rope Rescue 2 class, and then we train out here on the Appalachian Trail. And people from these surrounding towns, one of the best groups we have right now, a young group came in from Armenia. So you think that we do it all here, we don't. We have a lot of help. Mutual aid helps us all the time. We need them. They come in and help us. We get them from Norfolk, has a great team, a great truck set up for rope rescue. Lakeville is where I go. That's where our headquarters are. And we have several members here that belong to that team. Everything in the fire department is not fighting fire. In fact, most of our calls now are other. Our ambulance squad, God bless them, because they, as Richard knows, they go day and night, many, many more times than the fire department is called. We get called a lot. I think up to date, I had written down here, somewhere's on my pad, if I can read my writing without my glasses. Somewhere's around 200 and, correct me if I'm wrong, 220 something calls, and that's like through September, and we still have, you know, October's, November, December to add into that. With the ambulance squad alone, sometimes they're going 4 or 5 times a day. It's just amazing when I hear my pager go off, and I always get a lump in my throat and say, where are we going to put out a fire now? And I thank God that it's the ambulance going, and then I have to check, make sure it's not my house, you know? And I have been once, so I know what that ride is like. So God bless them. They not only do 160 hours of initial, is that correct? 160 hours of initial EMT training, and then every 2 years they have to go back for 40-hour refresher. So they're going all the time. A lot of time you come by, you see vehicles here. It's them in here training, whether it be with CPR or all the different things they do. It's a fabulous group. So not to take anything away from them, they are very important to our squad. We work as a team. And I want to end my little say, because I have one thing, like I said, I really love the rope rescue. So I'm going to tell you this one story, kind of fitting for the town of Cornwall. Last year we had a call for our rope team to respond up to Canaan. And I'm listening to the call. The LCD is telling us what's going on. And we had to go to the lime quarry. And I thought, wow, I always thought it would be a horrible thing if one of those workers up there fell, because they're 100-foot cliffs of sheer limestone that's been broken up by the blasting they do to get the lime out. I thought, boy, this is just going to be a real headache. But it wasn't for a person. There was a dog up there that someone had heard barking. And I thought, gee, a dog? How would a dog get into that mine and not be able to go over and pick him up? So we go up there. And they had drones looking for this dog because they heard it barking, and they found it. It was on a small ledge about 50 feet down from where the top is, right there by the road when you go by the plant, if you've ever been up on the road there. So we looked, and we tried to look at it from every angle. We tried to get a ladder truck in, but the ladder truck couldn't reach high enough to get to where the dog was. So we had to come down from the top. And being the safety officer, which they said to me when I got there, said, you're going to be the safety guy, make sure we're safe. I wanted no part of that. I took on the job, and I warned them all that to try to get down to that dog with a loose limestone, we're probably going to end up somebody getting hurt. And I didn't think it was a good idea. And then some of our instructors came to me and said, oh no, if we don't go down and get that dog from that 40 or 50 foot down that it had fallen onto the shelf, some crazy person's going to get a rope, they're going to throw it around a tree somewhere, or to their car they're going to tie it, and they're going to try to get that dog. And then they're going to get hurt, and what have we gained? So we threw some to the wind, and we said, okay. So we set up our whole system like we do. We have ropes, and so we can lower a stretcher, which we put a screen for a dog, you know, one of those screened-in cages. We tied it to the stretcher. We set up all our system. We lowered 2 of our better climbers down with the gear that I have on, now. We lowered them down, and they got down to the 40 or 50 feet, wherever that dog was on the ledge, and then they had to kind of get the ropes over to it, which wasn't easy from what I understand. We couldn't see it because we were on the top. I wish we had it filmed. And our lead man got got close enough to the dog and offered it something, and the dog wanted no part of it. It was scared to death and hungry. I thought, geez, they're radioing up telling us the problems they're having. Finally, he climbed up enough onto that ledge that he was able to grab the dog. He had gloves on, they were smart. They dressed for the occasion. They grabbed the dog. He takes it back out, slides back out so he's below the rope, and he tries to put it in the cage. And when he does, as he's pushing the dog in the cage to close the door, the dog bites him on the chin. So now he's got blood from his chin, and he says, I've been hurt, I've been bit by this dog. And I went, here we go. The fun has just begun. Now we got to get them, the two rescuers, with this stretcher like you'll see over there, like we have over by our display. And this cage, and the dog is now in it and safe. We have to get him to the top. Well, it took us about 20 minutes of slow hauling to finally get that whole group to the top. The dog was fine, which was a wonderful thing. And the owner of the dog was very happy that we had done it. The rescuer had to go to the hospital, get stitches in his chin from where the dog bit him. And then he had to have the protocol for rabies because they weren't sure, you got to cover everything. Well, that was all well and good. We managed to save a dog. That's a wonderful thing for our crew to do. So I get home and I'm watching TV. And what do I see on the national news but our rescue in Canaan? And I thought, of all the people I've rescued, or we have rescued as a team, we've gone all over the mountain. We've been in many ravines pulling people out and getting them out to Lifestar, which we saw, so they could get them, to where they could get to a hospital. And you might get a little blip in the paper. Thank you for your little blips in the paper. We appreciate that. But very seldom do we, make national news. Maybe the only time I might remember was when we had the tornadoes. That's about the only time I remember. The good thing about that was, after seeing it on the national news, we had younger guys coming wanting to join our team. So if that's what it did for us, I'm very glad we saved the dog. And I know dog lovers in Cornwall, that's my story for today, okay? Now I'd like to end my little speech by saying thank you to all of our responders. I'd like to say thanks to all the guys for bringing the stuff down for us to see. Thanks to our chief and for all the people that helped us set this up. And thanks to our community, because without our community, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Love you all. Thank you.
David, thank you. Hey, stay there for a second. It's not much, but I want to give you a cup. Let's thank all the first responders here. They're all around us. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And Richard, if you come over here, please. Now, Richard's not an official member yet, but he gets the official supporter hat. And watch this.
Not a t-shirt. Oh, this is great.
Supporter. I support our volunteers. And how about a cup for you? All right. Thank you, Richard. Everybody, thank you. There's ice cream. Plenty of ice cream. Plenty of cake. Get yourselves around. You stood for a long time. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Support your fire department ambulance.